Hey, greetings, class. We are doing the course project or the assignment for lesson 3, and that's on page 202 in your textbook. That is 3G. The first thing we're going to do is it tells us for step 1, we are going to open PBP03 from the data files of this chapter. Okay, so first I want to tell you, you can get the data files. I'm going to put the data file in the bottom of the instructor announcement, or you can go to this website right here. I'll leave that up for a second. That is the website that you can download directly the student files. So when I go to this website, and you could pause it if you need to type it in or whatever, I simply, here's the website, I click on student data files, and then I save the student data files, and it's going to save an entire folder of student data files. In fact, it's going to save a zip folder. I'm simply going to, I saved it to my desktop. I simply unzip it, right? And I have a program that can unzip it. Or you can do that by just double clicking and drag it out, right? And that's what Windows does, right? The new Windows, you don't need a unzipper. All right, and then you click on it and you're looking for PBP03, not PB03. Okay, don't mistake. PBPB03. And that's towards the bottom of the student data file, right? Right there. All right, so that's one we're going to open. So I put it on my desktop. All right, and that's step 1. Step 2 says save the publication as PBPB03 and then underscore XX in a location. What I want you to do is save it on your desktop, and I want you to PBPB03 underscore with your name, okay? You should always try to save the files with your name so that I know who's submitting it. Okay, now it says so we have our publication open now, right? The Daniel Schmeling publication, right? PBPB03, right? You can confirm you're working on the right one. It tells us to click in the autumn adoption box, right? And then click text box tools format. So click in the auto adoption box, right? And it says click text box tools format. Okay. Then it wants us to go to margins, right? Margins. Right? It says none, then change the line spacing to 1.0 to fit the text box. So change that to none, and then for the line spacing, the easiest way that I like to do it is go to home, right? We're still clicked in there. We click on the paragraph, right? And we want line spacing between the lines to be 1.0, right? So that's right there, 1.0. We click OK. You notice that a fair word came up there, and that's correct. We could always check what we're doing on page 204 in our textbook. It has the completed project. So anytime that you have any questions, you can just go there and review what it's supposed to look like. Okay, folks, we're on step 4. Step 4, we are changing this pet rescue to loose text. So I simply highlight it, right? I'm going to change the text, the character spacing, and I'm going to make it loose. And then click OK. And that's step 4, folks. Okay, folks, for step 5, we have some multi-steps here, so we're just going to take it one at a time. The first thing we want to do, it tells us to select the golden brown shape, right? So we want to select here. We don't want to click in here or in here. We want to make sure we click our shape, our golden brown shape. We're going to right click now once that's selected, and we're going to go to Format Auto Shape. We should have a box that appears up, and this box is going to be called the present box. Okay, it refers to it in the book as the present box. So we'll go ahead with that. What it wants us to do is it wants to click on the fill effects, right? This is step A. Click on the fill effects, right? So it says display format out auto shape. Click on fill effects. It wants us to change it to gradient fill. It wants us to change the present gradient to accent 1, medium gradient, accent 1. That's right here. You can see it's selected. It wants us to change the direction, I believe, to linear right. That's right here. So we've clicked the gradient fill, the present gradients, and the direction. And now we're going to click OK. The next step, and that was step B that we just did. Now it's saying in this present box in step C, it wants us to take out the border. It says in the line area, deselect the tabs and we're only going to display the bottom border. Now this is confusing because you might want to click down here, you might want to try to unclick that. That's not correct. What we need to do is this is displaying the border, right? And it has all these selected. So we're going to deselect them and we're going to select the one that only displays the bottom border, and that's right there. You could barely see it like an Excel table, but that's the correct selection there. Finally, the last step says select a dark border brown color such as the RGB 153. So what we're going to do here is just going to change that color to the RGB, the followed hyperlink. And you just have to hover over this, right, in just the right area, and it tells you that RGB 153.102-2 or 0, I mean. So we've gone ahead and done that, and it wants us at 25% darker. The 25% darker one is in that same column. You just hover over, right, and you can see that last part there saying darker 25%, so we select that one. And then finally, it wants us to change the width, right, so the size, right, we're changing the width, right, to 3 point. Picture, it doesn't exactly look like this. I wanted to show you that common mistake there. So we're not changing the width of the border, but we're changing the width or of the actual border, but the width of the lines on the shape. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put that back to 7.5, right? That's a common mistake that a lot of people are making. So I wanted to show you that. And what you're going to do is you're actually going to, with the box selected, you're going to click on Drawing Tools Format. You're going to go to Shape Outline, and you're going to click on Weight. And here you weigh the line around your border. And it wants us to be at 3 points. So we're going to go ahead and select that. Okay, so that's the end of step 5. It was a long step, so now we're going to move on to step 6. Step 6 wants us to begin formatting in this text box here. So first thing we're going to do is going to click in that text box. It wants us to put all the text as 14, so that's easy. We have it selected there. We just change it to 14. Okay, next it asks us to remove the 6-point space for all paragraphs. What we did before with our text selected, we're going to click on the text box tools, or actually we're going to click on Home, click on Paragraph. And there's the line spacing where I want us to remove that. So we're going to put that to 0. Okay. Next, it wants us to add justify a line to our paragraph. So we simply highlight. We go up to our paragraph box, right? We still have that Home tab selected. We're going to apply justify. Okay. On 6D, we're going to do a drop cap. Drop cap is basically just making that first letter bigger than the rest, right? So we're in the Home tab, but we need to go to Text Box Tools Format tab. We're going to highlight around or just click where we want to do that. I just clicked right to the right of the J. I'm doing a drop cap, and it wants us to do style 7, which is right there. So we're adding a little bit of flair, right? A little bit of designing to our publisher, we're doing that flare. So that's a drop cap style 7. Okay, so the next step, it wants us to apply the default first line ident to the second paragraph. So we simply click here. We're going to click on our home tab. We're going to click on paragraph. And we're going to click on our first line indent. We're going to put it at 3. For step F, we're going to highlight they call these the last 3 paragraphs. We're going to make sure that we're in the home tab. We are going to click on these numbers, and we're going to apply numbering of 1, 2, 3. And it doesn't matter if you select 1, 2, 3 with the parentheses or no, the dots. I'm going to go with the dots. Okay, so we've completed 6F. Next, it wants us to color in the back of this whole text box. It wants us to use diagonal gradient accent 1. So we're going to click on the text box. We go to drawing format tools. We're going to expand these, and we're going to look for diagonal gradient accent 1. And there's diagonal gradient accent 1. We're going to click on that to select it. And we've just finished step 6. That was a long step. We're going to move on to step 7. For step 7, we're going to insert a table with 5 columns and 12 rows, and then we need to enter the data on page 203. So I'm going to go ahead and insert the table, and then I'm going to pause the video and enter the data. As you can see the data on page 203. So to insert the table, I just go to Insert, I go to Table, and I'm going to click on here to insert table, and it tells me 5 columns and 12 rows. Okay, so I've got that here. I'm going to lower that down a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and enter in my data. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video while I enter the data. Okay, folks, so I went ahead and entered the data. What I did here was I used table 46 so that it was broke down for me a little bit better with the cell definitions there, right? I couldn't really be too clear with these other tables, right, in the design. So I selected on table 46 to enter that data. So now I'm going to go on to step 8, and we're going to format the table as follows. It wants us to put all the font at 14. So I simply highlight and I put it to 14. Okay, so it's probably going to put some of it off the paper until we get it formatted all together. Actually, it still kind of fits. All right, so step 8B, it wants us to take this good width cell and merge it with the cell to the right. So simply highlight both cells in the table tools. We go to layout and we click this merge cells, and they are merged, right? We have to have those highlighted for those to merge. Okay, next we want to merge the name cell with the cell above it. So the name cell with the cell above it, right? We simply highlight it, merge the cells. We're going to highlight this age cell, and we're going to highlight the age cell and the one above it. Again, we're going to merge those cells. Right? So we've merged them. Merge this color breed cell with the one above it, right? We're still in table tools layout. Highlight, merge. Step 8D is merge all the cells in the cat row. So we simply highlight that. We go to merge all the cells in the dog row and merge. It says, oh no, we forgot to add a column. So we want to click in the age here. We need to insert a column. So we click on it. We then right click. We go to insert. We're inserting a column to the right. And that's okay that went off like that. I'll go ahead and resize that. But then we need to type the word sex. And we need to add their gender. And you're just guessing here. It's actually by their names, right? So we're gonna go ahead and type the gender, and then I'm gonna pause this and upload it, and then there'll be a part 2 video. So thanks, and I'll continue when we're left off in part 2.